nascent street art movement found a home in Shoreditch, a rundown district in London's East End, where a new underground was thriving.
Artists went there of all types because the rent was cheap.
Banksy, now living in London, was a fixture at the Dragon, a small bar tucked away in a side street near the Old Street roundabout that had become the informal headquarters of the street art community.
Dragon was this unique, weird place that was run by a guy called Justin Piggott, who was an ex-junkie, but into art, and it was modelled on like a Lower East Side kind of divey, skateboardy, graffiti bar. And at the back of the bar they had this car park, and we used to put parties on there. And because it was just that little bit out of like the beaten track, we'd keep it open all night. You know, we had a licence till 11 o'clock, and we'd keep it open serving booze until 3 o'clock in the morning. And it just became this like weird lawless zone.
It was just like a freewheeling kind of madness where, everybody knew each other, you had artists coming in. Like all these guys congregated there, and it was an epicenter really at the beginning of the scene. If you think about it, since the YBAs, there's been no other new movement of art outside of what the graffiti scene has been doing. And it's probably one of the most powerful art forms globally, and has millions and millions of followers.
When people buy art today, it's not always based on what art they're drawn to personally. At the highest echelons of the real sort of super rich, it's often because of what is considered valuable at the time.
It's a rest home for the overprivileged, the pretentious and the weak. And modern art is a disgrace. Never had so many people used so much stuff and taken so long to say so little.
Street art was always really good. Anthony Lister will be remembered as a greater painter as Pablo Picasso or Francis Bacon, or not. And I still believe that.
Work that should be seen as proper art, not some vandal just putting out a bit of paint on a wall. And it should be considered and thought about, and shouldn't be just painted over.
I'm frustrated by many things, but trying to get accepted by the art world isn't one of them. This seems difficult for people to understand. You do not paint graffiti in the vain hope that one day some big fat Tory will discover you and put your pictures on his wall. If you draw on walls in public, then you are already operating on a higher level.
What they did was show that you didn't have to have a gallery, be attached to a gallery, to be a well-known, successful artist.